network operation and NOC, right? If we had to think of a use case where digital worker and a real worker work hand in hand, like, would you be able to think anything on top of your head, any example?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your traditional, like as we were mentioning, the ability of collecting the data, right, and analyzing that data and making that available as, let's say, you're operating in a Microsoft Teams channel, right? This could be a bot available to you that can watch your conversations, and present and be proactively as well as interactively working in that channel, right?
Welcome to CXO Spotlight, powered by Flywheeler. I'm your host, Chirag Khanijau, and today we are exploring how AI is reshaping one of the most critical yet overlooked part of enterprise infrastructure, network operations. Our guest is Gary Sidhu, Senior Vice President of Product Engineering at GTT Solutions, who's leading the charge in integrating agentic AI digital workers into network management. Gary, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Gary, let's get first things first, and let's start by understanding your role at GTT. You're overseeing product engineering for a global tier one network provider. Walk us through what that actually means from day to day and the scale that you're operating at.
Yeah, absolutely. I joined GTT last year in January, as you mentioned, as a SVP for product engineering. During that time, our CEO joined the company before that, and we were building the mission and the vision for the company. We believe that this should be a platform that allows people and their applications globally securely with the data and the applications anywhere in the world, right? So, which led to evolving our platform we call EnVision. And EnVision, if you see, has two major infrastructure components. One is the customer edge. You deploy GTT applications as well as we can carve the compute to run your local workload, which is a compute platform connected to our core network where you can deploy your advanced services like SD-WAN or your firewalls. And we also allows the customers to run your workload. And then there is an experience to manage all of this. So we believe with this EnVision platform, we give our customers globally an ability to build a complex network and that can securely manage these, the interconnectivity between machines and people with the data and application. So my biggest responsibility is to engineer the EnVision platform. Of course, EnVision platform doesn't just happen magically. There are CRM applications or data platforms, how we collect the network data, how do you observe that network. So I also have the responsibility to engineer some of those underlying applications. And our customers are liking it.
Awesome. I think one of the things that listeners to know is that for a tier one network provider like yourself, what scale are you looking at? This must be a big scale at which you're working at, the locations, the global operations, and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, the GTT is tier one network provider. What that means is we have a network presence are all around the world. In fact, 470 plus locations worldwide. We have expanded our compute infrastructure connected to that. We call our NFV sites plus locations worldwide. That allows you to build your gateways closer to you. We have a voice platform that you can connect in North America, your voice networks through SIP trunking with any of your favorite over-the-top platforms like Teams. And we provide security services in a lot of areas. Our goal is not to be the security provider. Our goal is to have security that is very network adjacent, right? So if you're buying technology from us, that's the securely connect part of our vision. To make sure that you are able to build, whether you want to build firewalls at your site or centralized firewalls, or you want to build your DDoS protection kind of security function integrated into the network. So we're very focused more on the network side of the story. We're also looking into expanding into the LAN side of it, where we believe the traffic actually originates. And so you have a network visibility, all the true endpoints, your phone, your laptops, your iPads, and how they interact, you can run it over our tier one network.
What I'm hearing is in this role of creating this platform and building this platform along with your customers, you're sort of at the forefront of integrating AI as well into these network operations. That means,
Yes.
but based on when you joined, I think that was the advent of the influx of generative AI and everything. So I'm very curious that as a product leader, what's been the most eye-opening part of this journey for you personally, seeing this whole phase come out?
You're absolutely right. The whole hype about OpenAI or ChatGPT, we saw first time. I mean, generally, people have been talking about artificial intelligence in learning for a while, but this was first time we saw at a scale that ever, we could use it more often. And it has evolved so fast within now the programs are being built around this. Your day-to-day functions are starting to depend. The technology is embedded in your end devices, all of that stuff, right? Um, it, I'm still learning, but it is an area where company like OpenAI, they have commoditized AI. That was the biggest thing. Before that, it was such a niche function, and you need to have the right
Mm.
technologist, right stuff, right? And a company like NVIDIA powered the ability to run that kind of a compute, right? So you see models coming every day. For me personally, I remember around like right last year around this time, spending time learning about AI. My personal technique is micro learning, and I love a lot of YouTube videos. There's so much content
Yep.
available on internet, just learning, what people talking about, what the technology is, and what I should be learning and what I should not be learning. I don't want to be the um, OpenAI engineer. I wanted to be
Yep.
the consumer of OpenAI, and I want to take those kind of technology and how do we integrate into our products, right? So there is definitely a good learning experience for personally to be able to talk. We started to once I have a decent understanding about what this technology means as a consumer, we
Mm.
started the conversation within our organization, with my boss, who is our chief product and technology officer, with our CEO, with the C-suite, what this means to us. One of my biggest eye-opening thing, I don't remember the person who was talking, but his thought was, hey, in old school way, or we're still doing it that way, is you give a requirement to a software engineer who build the systems, and system generates an
Mhm.
output. But AI completely flips that model and it say, hey, this is the outcome I want because machine has knowledge and reasoning. It actually generates the outcome, right? So we started having this conversation, which means what does that mean for within our company? What do we need to have to be able
Yep.
to do these technology? Very quickly, we realized being a tier one network provider, we see a lot of customer data. With the fourth biggest
Mhm.
IP backbone in the world, we see a lot of traffic that goes through our network. Um, so customer data, you cannot compromise, and especially when you're a network company in US. I mean, we're part of the team Telecom, which means we have to protect the network, right? So the the idea of having protecting our customer data, never leaving our network, was the most important thing. And
Mhm.
we decided to, and we actually went to see our friends at NVIDIA, who were very excited.
Mhm.
In fact, we were also very excited to learn one of the three main industries. Telecom is one of the industry that they wanted to focus on as a company. So I think the mission aligned. We learned a lot of stuff from them. We decided to build our own AI farm at GTT with NVIDIA's help and a few other partners. So I think that kind of now we are at a stage where we've established the farm, we established the architecture, we built some of the internal use cases, and we're starting to see the value. We are at a point where we're starting to have a conversation with HR, what it means from training, not only training our people, what the future skills look like. with machine as part of it. So within a year, as much as the technology advanced within our company, establishing what we call an enterprise AI was our big focus. Right? How do you bring the AI into the enterprises? So much just using, and that also involved like us personally learning the basic skill of prompt engineering, like how do you find information about all of these. So it's a journey I think we're very excited about. We believe
Yeah.
not only from this we can build products we can make available if customers want to run their workloads and those network and
Mhm.
has a network adjacency problem. How can we expand our envision platform so they can not only run their regular workload but also AI workload connected to our network. So we're learning and we're building those into our products as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think I love the scale and the way you explained about the scale at which you operate, as well as your personal journey with the AI. Now, I want to sort of think about your read on the industry so that the listeners can take some value from it, right? Like how the industry read is there. Because here's something I find very fascinating that you've said somewhere that ticket-based NOCs or network operation centers are evolving.
Yeah.
And as a realist, you know that with AI inflection and everything, this is going to become much leaner in future and more effective than before. We know this is going to happen, which is a great thing for this $60 billion market that you operate in, right? What are you seeing? What is driving this transformation? What are the customers asking for because of this change is necessary?
Specifically from our network operations angle.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, we are at a point where the AI inflection is impacting the network operations, right? It's not just about efficiency. What evident of AI is making us at telcos, service providers, to really take a close look of how our traditional NOC model works, right? And the
Mhm.
traditional ticket-based type NOC model, um, for as the networks getting more complex, and that's causing limiting the scale of human-centric ticket model. And then the emergence of predictive AI technology, I think it's that three-way collision is forcing us to think harder than that, right? If you see
Mhm.
from our networks provider, we just don't give you the pipe, the clunky network pipe. The networks, the today customers of rate, there's no longer monolith network, right? The networks are become fairly complex all the way from how the network within a building operates. How do you connect over various
Mhm.
paths back to backbone like ours? And the connectivity that happens not only between customers' data center, but also the hyperscaler data center where a lot of these customers workload runs. And all of this complexity is driving a lot of data, and that
Mhm.
uh, the data that is being generated is kind of slowing down or impacting the it's elevating the reactive nature and the inefficiency of a traditional like a NOC models, right? And you see, when you go NOC, I mean, there's we call it a wall of red, the crippling barrage of monitoring alerts, right? It's constantly coming.
Yeah,
How do you
yeah.
filter out? How do you filter what's redundant, what's non-critical, what's false positive? And then once you go there and then you're swivel sharing between multiple applications to correlate all of these different layers of network, um, and reacting to and this all is adding to the most important measure in knock, mean time to repair, right? It's increasing,
Mm.
and we see the hope in AI because machine. Within a few years, the whole evolution of not just the generative AI but also agentic AI, which make building more digital worker kind of model, right? Where the
Mhm.
machines can correlate a lot of these events and have the data very quickly present to the NOC operators. That's certainly helping to more predictive type model, right? There is really a first time a great opportunity to generally shift toward predictive operations where, AI can work on detecting the subtle anomalies. A lot of time, as you can imagine, in all of these complex network, there are so much of electronics, just finding the temperature fluctuation happening on the box, the CPU utilization. How do you see which is unusual and what's not yet critical, right? And so you can start thinking about more of a predictive. Hey, this machine was heating up, which means it's could be causing other, series of event. So you can start thinking about those predictive operations, right? And I think with this, we are almost able to map it to a quantifiable ROI because all of that barrage of events, correlating them, predicting them. Now your mean time to repair is getting shorter. You're reacting, or you may be reacting if in a highly mature state, you may be even predicting before things actually happen. So you're going away from reactive, hey, something happened, let me look to more predictive model. So there's definitely,
Yeah.
with all the complexity the network and AI can handle the workloads, I think there's a huge opportunity here to evolve toward more predictive side.
You mentioned this, I think, digital workers. Very, very, very interesting. This is where I want to know, like, walk us through an example in simple terms in a network operation center or a platform like yours, right? What would a worker actually look like, and how this enhances what a human operator can do, or what overall experience of this is going to be?
That's a great question, and it's a fantastic place to start the journey in the knock wall. I mean, digital
Mm.
worker can sound like, to your point, a science fiction, right? But it actually is the very practical evolution happening in the modern knocks, right? If you are a CTO or a IT manager and you're visualizing this, digital worker, it's not your physical robot, right? It's, to us in knock, it is an intelligent software and a bot or an agent, depending on the size of the application, that lives within
Mhm.
the IT system, right? Think of it as a virtual employee that's always working and it's very scalable, right? My favorite thing is, good grapes lead to good wine. It starts with the foundational control of the data, right? The quality of data. And the other foundational element in building a good wine is your remote process automation, or your automation function, right? And then you pair that with machine that is able to understand the things, able to connect the things, and be able to build a reasoning. So that's the sort of like a, to me, the agent is that software component that has a good quality view of data, foundational AI working, and reasoning model, and an ability to orchestrate with humans and or other machines, right? So think that way, right? So to me, that's how the worker looks like. And to your other part of the question, how it enhances the human operators, we firmly believe, at least in next future, that we can see, the idea is not to replace the human. The idea is not just to, it is as a force multiplier, allowing your expensive, highly skilled human operators to focus on the work that truly requires human intelligence, right? And it helps you eliminate the swivel chair because machine can gather this information very quickly. It
Yeah,
can
yeah.
also help you look at the at achieving the real time and predictive resilience, right? Because humans operator are reactive, right? They solve the problem after the network break, but the digital worker can be a proactive piece where it's analyzing all this data and presenting the information to human to make the further decision. And for us, the other way to see it's also scaling the teams. For us, company like ours, we're focusing on the growth. It can help us scaling without a lot of OpEx costs, right? On that. So you can build a pretty highly 24 by 7 by 365 team that can take a human intelligence and a lot of hard work that machines can do and interact, and then build a new relationship model, right? Into it. It's not just the applications the machines can reason.
Yeah, I find it very interesting and so very well put because you're not advocating for that extreme of digital workers doing everything end to end because, Team Telecom, like you mentioned, has this responsibility of security and governance of the data. So the human is sort of always in the loop and in the governance
Yes.
role, always making sure that this goes well.
Yep.
And if we had to pick up just for all the listeners who are from the telecom world and who know network operation and NOC, right? If we had to think of a use case where digital worker and a real worker work hand in hand, like would you be able to think anything on top of your head, any example?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your traditional, like as we were mentioning, the ability of collecting the data, right, and analyzing that data and making that available as, for example, let's say you're operating in a Teams, Microsoft Teams
Mhm.
channel, right? This could be a bot available to you that can watch your conversations, what's you and present and be proactively as well as interactively working in that channel, right?
Mhm.
It's doing all the hard work and it's engaged with you in your team collaboration, and you can make that work for sure. I mean, from our customer angle, that we're building a component within our digital platform called Evo, and
Mhm.
it's so EnVision Virtual Operator. It's an evolved agent, not like an old school chat bots, but you know,
Mhm.
when you coming in, and this is the other side of the story, like our customer interacting with us, right? So within the team, you can collaborate with the agents and your employees, but now you're looking on the other side of the fence when customers are coming and what the data they are seeing,
Mhm.
like say, in our what envision, like what we envision, what we will see is, hey, how your network service is running, right? And sometimes those graphs could be, it looks pretty, but they are hard to find the information, if you want to connect two or three graphs together. And now these bots or these agents or operators can also help customer interpret what that complex telecom data means, and they can also interact with the employee. So I think these agents can not only help the if efficient collaboration within company, but also interaction with their customers as well. We see, like, a lot
Yeah,
of time
super.
we look if customers are looking for information, and simple thing like, hey, why are you looking for BGP information from me? What is BGP? Like basic questions, machine can help you understand right there, right? Interacting, we can see where customer could be struggling in providing that information.
I think it's almost like when you're dissatisfied with FAQs or call
Yeah,
center agent, this is like contextual explainability. Like you exactly understand what they meant when they asked BGP or something like that.
absolutely right. And one of the things we're launching with this is, like, we've taken all our product external facing content, product content,
Mhm.
and making it
Mhm.
available in Evo. And also Evo is interacting the world knowledge, hey, like what's BGP? Explain why GTT needs BGP, or why do I need to provide this IP
Mhm.
information? Why are you asking this information? So it's kind of that type of a very good
Contextualization.
contextualization of old school FAQs, right? That's click, click, click. You're not machine can understand the context much better, right? So, and explain me like a 5-year-old.
Very exciting, actually.
Yeah.
And that's what I love that, a lot of time this unapproachability of telecom or network operations sometimes may make new people working in that fear it, but this makes it so much approachable as well that it's bridging that tribal knowledge gap that at times exists in the industry, right? So
Very well said. Very well said.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. Now, I think from fascination and excitement towards a little bit of skepticism that exists in the industry, right? Your customers are CTOs. CTOs, Chief Technology Officers, are at times risk averse when it comes to network infrastructure, and rightly so. How do you convince a 500 CTO to let AI agents and sort of these newer technologies, digital workers and everybody, enhance their critical network operations while still maintaining the reliability? How do you build that?
That's a really great question. Like I've seen within our experience, within our internal experience, I think the three main themes which we feel like gets the attention is, how do you de-risk with a phased like approach, presenting them that de-risk view of, hey, let's
Hmm.
crawl, meaning let's monitor the network through this agent, read only, nothing, help you correlate. And if you
Hmm.
establish that trust, can the agent control some of the fixes, right? If you are our customer, you can listen to the data that GTT provides to this agent,
Hmm.
or us internally. We can, for our NOC, we have a mechanism where we collect you know, our own. We built our own IP to collect data. As you can imagine, the network of that size, just not our size, but as the customer deploy our platforms at the edge, now you're collecting so much event. So just ability to build a crawl, and at some point, like build a fixes model. Like, could you allow these machines to have low risk, high frequency changes, right? Not like, things like periodically do a clearing a log file so the file system doesn't get bigger. And then once you're comfortable and are you ready to run,
Hmm.
evolve toward
Hmm.
predictive. Definitely showing them the de-risk path. And one area which everybody usually as well as corporation worry about is proactive security, right? So the
Hmm.
position where a digital worker can be the critical defense layer, can you see that and not as a vulnerability, right? So how do you mitigate the human errors, right? Real-time threat hunting, which is a big part of like us, right? When you run a network which is fourth biggest network in the world and it's growing, there's so much traffic going on it. How do you do the threat hunting and making that hunt available as a service to our customers, and that's what they can integrate and build into a proactive into your phases of run for crawl model, and then quantify the return over investment. That's everything boils down to the bottom line, right? So show them the low OPEX cost, right? The agent absorbs level one, level two toil, right? And delivering and the reduction of human labor. That's important to them. It's increasing the reliability and it's also increasing a faster response. So if you show them the path, these three steps, I think people are more listening, right?
I'm so glad you're a realist, which I love because this was a hard question. I'm sorry to put you on the spot because the reality is that what I feel like everybody has a customer. You have your customers as CTO, and CTOs have their customer as their own business partners who would always ask them that what's the innovation in network operations? Are we reducing the workforce? Are we building self-healing, networks? Are we building, or are we using AI in it? It's inevitable. I think it's gonna happen. But there is this business as usual fear as well that nothing should break. Everything should be secure, right? So I like that the path forward is crawl, walk, and run, and that's where we are. We go one more step specific, and this is a little bit easier. That if I am a CTO, right, and I am being asked this thing that I've invested millions into my network operations, right? I'm seeing several asks from my business that, hey, are you developing self-healing systems? Are you using agents? Are you using AI or generative AI? So there is so much ask coming towards these chief technology officers about their network operations, doing more with less money, and things like that. An advice, what would you give me as the advice of this crawl? Would I first get a single pane of glass like what you mentioned, Envision DX? Or should I start investing in digital workers? What's my first practical step, according to you, that I should take in doing innovation in my network operations?
Yeah, I think I'm putting ahead of our customer, right, who are building their network on platforms like ours, right? So we
Hmm.
completely believe one of the reality thing is that, let's say if you are any Fortune 500 company with global operations, as much as we will like your operations are running on a multiple network service provider, right?
Hmm.
And I think having a platform like ours that can give you a good visibility across, is very important. So I think or any other, to me, the foundational journey in your model starts with the good data. And that to what you call the single pane of glass, that's sort of like the experience you're building on it, right? And if you are a CTO building a complex network for your very large organization, which GTT specializes in, that's our typical customer. I would advise starting with a good view of single pane of glass as a starting point, because your machine is as smart or as ignorant or as the data available to you. So I think without data, you cannot get into the right space. And the data starts with, so you look for partners that are really focused on giving you the end-to-end view of that model, right? So even if just a little shameless pitch here, even if you're buying a network from at a site from a vendor that is not GTT, you can still deploy our
Hmm.
agent box that sort of acts like a bridge, and you still get the view where you can get the same visibility even if that provider is not able to get you, right? So but the bottom line is do what you can do to collect the data. That is the most important part, because the network is very, very complex, starting from me on my laptop connected to an access point in my home or a office building, routed through somebody's tier one routed through somebody's access to the internet backbone, connected to an application running on your data center or in one of the hyperscalers data center. There's so many moving parts. The better you get, and I think building agents on top makes
Hmm.
them more reliable. Your team of crawl, walk, run will fall in the right place because you have the right data, right? You can start evolving from that journey. Without data, I think you will be not, your strategy will fail at some point, right? Or unless you have the entire network is built by one company, and then, you're building a network on one company, um, and that company
Rarely
provides
the
you all the,
case.
rarely the case, especially if you're a large customer.
And there's a resemblance or an analogy of that in several other technology. Some years back, I was advising few Fortune 500 companies on their cloud journey to go to cloud, and you would have a private cloud, multi-cloud, and on-prem data center. And then there'll be so much asked to the CIO to go to cloud and have re-platform, refact, so many asks being done, similarly to what is being done to the CTO to do for network, right? And the first step that I would always say to them is that get a CMP or a cloud management portal. So you first have a idea of what's happening and like a MRI of your systems, and then you know what to diagnose and what to do and what should be the treatment of it. It's very analogous to what you just mentioned, that single pane, know what is happening and get the data. Only then
Yes.
you can innovate, right? Yeah. Very interesting conversation, Gary. I think we are almost at the end. Any other things you wanted to share, which is very exciting that you find about your industry before we wrap it up?
No, I think this exciting conversation with you. It was very thoughtful questions, and these are conversations for us. Telcos or service providers are not. We not your. Um, we are enabler of your day-to-day business, right? So, uh, and we are continuously investing as a company to build technologies, evolving our platforms, because the networks, like we talked a few times already, the networks are complex, and your businesses run on networks. So I think telco service providers are evolving. It's not just about clunky dumb pipe. It's about connecting applications. It's about connecting your people and data, securely. So in your strategy, think when you think about us, don't think then, hey, I just need a pipe. Think the full picture.
So yeah, Gary, this has been fascinating. We spoke about
Likewise.
evolution of NOCs to the reality of human AI collaboration. This is really good. But for our listeners who want to dive deeper into the AI-powered network operations, you can follow Gary's work at GTT Solutions and read more about EnVision DX, Evo, a lot of exciting things he spoke about. All links are in the show notes. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more conversations where leaders reshaping technology and business on CXO Spotlight, powered by Flywheeler.
Thank you.
To catch more such interesting conversations, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music.